Welcome to another episode of Monday Football. This one being very different. You know why? January, finally over. So before we get the show started, we've got our DJ here, DJ Flint, a brand new DJ every week, working here together with DJ Crossfade. And the DJ is going to give us some music to chase away January blues because, thank God, February is finally here. DJ, take it away. DJ Flint, our guest DJ for the day. Remember, every Monday here on Monday Football, we have a brand new DJ. We bring them from all over. He tells me he's a freelance DJ. We'll be getting to know more about him in just a bit. But for now, Bernard Ndong will introduce our host of guests. We've got an amazing show lined up for you. Keep talking to us. The hashtag is Monday Football.
Absolutely, Wegamore. It feels like January had about 40 days, but nonetheless, it feels good. 50 days. 50 days. It feels good, of course, the end of January, and indeed, thank you so much for joining us once again on Monday Football Show. And this afternoon, we're honored to have Mr. Gorse Melango. He's one of the candidates for the presidential title of the Football Kenya Federation elections that are taking place next week. That is on the 10th of February. And we also have seasoned journalists from the Royal Media Services group from various respective radio stations just to provide their insights as far as the transfer watch is concerned. You do know that the local transfer watch concluded over the weekend. So we'll be interested in looking at that, as well as the upcoming Football Federation, of course the FKF elections, the branch elections happened over the weekend, and the big one that is coming up in about a week's time, and that is the national election. But a lot of action happened over the weekend, Waiga Maura, locally and as well as on the international front.
Of course, Ndong, the big issue right now is about the FKF football elections. I know Mr. Gorse Melango has some interesting insights about that. Early on, he was dancing to the music the DJ was playing, but later on, he'll have to dance to the music of the many questions that we have for him. He seems to enjoy his music, and we'll get to know what he likes in addition to that. But for now, George Oria Uda was elected chairman of the North Rift by edging Patrick Mbuga by 36 votes to 31 in the branch elections held countrywide last week. Stephen Olo clinched the vice chairman's position, while Dixon Oruko secured the secretary's position. David Bune was elected chairman for South Rift, with David Ciele retaining his seat as the vice chairman. In Nairobi, Stephen Ragos failed to retain his post as Ezekiel Arab Tumo lost the secretary's position for South Rift.
We will have maybe question from the... Thank you. Thank you. Already we have given out the list of the candidates, and now what remains is the list of candidates, the delegates to vote, and that list is dependent on this. So now that we have given this, we'll be able to give you the list as soon as it's ready.
We just want to confirm that the national elections will be extremely free and fair. We will secure it. We will ensure that we do it in a professional manner. So we want people to understand that if you're not a delegate, do not waste your time coming into that venue. You become a celebrity.
Making sure how? So what are you guys in this?
And of course, you do know that the transfer watch, the local, excuse me, it seems Waiga that over the weekend,
January.
Excuse me, let me get that again. The transfer watch concluded over the weekend. Of course, we're taking a look at the teams that have done their signings. Let's look at who has done significant signings. The biggest talking point is the fact that Sofapaka has signed 25 players. 25 players have been signed at Sofapaka Batoto Bamungu. But we'll take a look at Gor Mahia first of all. Of course, just take a look at the players that they've been able to sign in as the transfer window concluded. Remember, they won the Kenyan Premier League last season. They had an amazing season. As you can see there, there's Amos Nandi. I'll just go through them quickly. About 13 signings have been done. Jacob Kelly, Eric Otieno, Jackson Saleh, Gerardo Sucheng. And this is just the confirmed final list from the Kenyan Premier League. Harun Shakava also joins Gor Mahia. Look at the other players. Godfrey Walusimbi, Musa Mohamed, James Ogada, Edmond Murai from Horoni Youth. Luke Ochieng, Jacques Tuisenge from Rwanda. Of course, you know that he was featuring for the national Rwanda football team, the Amavubi, at the African Nations Championship. Now, these are the players that who have left Gor Mahia: Timothy Otieno, Diki Gle, the Liberian, David Juma, Michael Olunga, the talisman striker, Medi Kagere. Michael Olunga, of course, you know that he's headed to Sweden. Zakari Taufik, Martin Werunga, Pierre Simon. Let's take a look at AFC Leopards. And they've also done some considerable signings. You can see there Israel Emuge, Solomon Nasio, Eric Masika, Lucas Indeche, Andrew Diego from Homeboys, Geoffrey Nyakeri from Chemelil Sugar, Kevin Migunde also from Chemelil Sugar, Dennis Nzomo from Tusker FC. And you can see there are a significant number of players: Alan Terega, Bernard Ongoma, Edwin Mukolwa, Daniel Kandie, Alfred Wekesa, Kefa Swani, Emmanuel Onyancha, Simon Munala. And I can just bring in John Kianda just to give us some insight as far as this transfer is concerned, specifically at AFC Leopards. What I understand is the fact that head coach Jan Koops, especially a player like Alan Katerega, he's trying as much as possible to show up his midfield. Do you think these signings will actually take Ingwe to the top this season?
I think they'll help them survive relegation, because so far they've lost over 15 players. Yes. Most of them are first-team players. So for FC Leopards, it's about survival, not winning or competing in the competition. But I think they've done what they could do, because they have no sponsor so far, and they lost some of their players to the best teams in the Kenya Premier League, who have the money to buy them. So Bandari being one of the teams that bought like a good number of players from FC Leopards. Tusker FC too bought a good number of players from FC Leopards, and one of the dependable players, the defender Jackson Saleh, went to Gor Mahia. So according to me, FC Leopards, I think they just have a score to survive and a score to manage. There will be no more strikes of
You're not too optimistic. Why?
Because of the reality. You know, at the moment, if you have no money in the Kenya Premier League to sign the best players, how are you going to compete with the best players? All those signings, the big names that we know so far at the FC Leopards are rejects from other teams. So they've signed rejects from other teams that are known, but they've lost their best players to other big teams that are going to give them a run for their money. So according to me, FC Leopards, to be realistic, I support that club, but they will not be competing this season.
You don't feel like they'll be able to maintain in the top 10 next season?
Look at Tusker FC, look at Bandari, look at Ulinzi Stars, look at Gor Mahia. You can't tell me that FC Leopards will really fight for the title. I think they'll participate and at least bring some hype in the Kenya Premier League, but winning a title, I don't see that happening.
You're not confident in this squad? The long and short of it.
Okay, it's a good place to expose yourself, because FC Leopards had a big fan base, have a big fan base in the derby. They'll be watched all over. I think it's an opportunity for them to nurture youngsters who will not be demanding huge salaries. But I understand Clifford Miheso could also be headed to FC Leopards. I'm not sure if he signed a deal because the transfer window ended yesterday. Kefa Swani too, there were those reports. So let's wait and see and pray for FC Leopards. I know there are guys from Lembe FM here and other from Vuka FM.
Let's bring the other gentlemen. Let's hear their sentiments. A very a pessimistic kind of view from John Kianda. He doesn't feel that this number of signings, the 21 signings that AFC Leopards has done.
No, I'm so much disappointed if Kianda can use such sentiments like as what he has said for a club that he alleges he's supporting. Kianda, you need to know that AFC Leopards is not signing rejects from other teams. These are teams whereby these are young boys who we feel like if the other teams they saw value in them. What has changed? That AFC Leopards is taking them and we are terming them rejects. Kianda, I need you to take back that, because you owe a whole fraternity of AFC Leopards, from the Shabiks and to everyone. AFC Leopards, let me finish up, Kianda. we performed so poorly last season. It's okay. I mean, from financial problems we had and other issues, which is global to every club in KPL anyway. But this season, I think the mechanism that has been put in place, starting from the IMC committee that was formed to run the club. I mean, the allegation that even sponsors have come on board to see that FC Leopards, at least we are getting something. All in all, we appreciate it. Kianda, watch this space.
Okay. So of course, divergent views there. John Kianda saying he's not confident with the squad that has been selected. In his honest opinion, he feels just a moment. He feels that these signings are ideally feels that these are rejects. But Musali has a different opinion. We'll get back to you, John Kianda, in just a moment. We'll get back to you. Waiga Mara, we forgot to actually just acknowledge the fact that we're one man short. That's right. Mike Okinyi isn't with us in Kenya, Nairobi. He actually got the opportunity to watch an Arsenal match over the weekend. He now joins us on the phone all the way from the UK. Mike Okinyi, how are you?
Welcome on, I'm alright. I'm just freezing, man.
Mi niko poa, labda wewe.
Baridi mzee.
Baridi.
Yeah, -1 low.
And was that cold also in the stadium in the match that you managed to catch over the weekend?
Actually, the stadium is also very cold, especially here. Normally it's a little bit heated, but if you're sitting on an equivalent sport at the time, it's going up. That's no question. I don't want to buzz
All right, Mike, I can't hear you so well. Are you able to bring the phone closer to you just so we can catch you better, especially for our viewers?
Yes, can you hear me now?
There you go, much better, much better. Just say that again real quick. The experience this weekend you had catching that Arsenal match, how was it?
Well, it was alright. It was a lot of fun. You guys watched the game at Arsenal. And it was the match, the FA Cup match between Arsenal and Burnley. You might think it's a small team that they're not be able to fill up the stadium, but these guys are football mad. They are crazy. Even the smallest of games, people really bid for the tickets, and it sold out within hours of going on sale. So it's a good experience, and much more coming up.
How would you compare the FA Cup match that you managed to catch and the English Premier League match I also believe you had a chance to watch in December?
The atmosphere is the same, Wahiga. For football fans in the UK, football is football. There is no big game, there is no small game. Then they enjoy all the matches equally. So the FA Cup and the league matches and also the Champions League, they are treated the same way. The match day preparations are the same, and the type of treatment that players get is the same, the type of treatment that fans get is the same, and the most important bit is that the away fans are really treated well because they've got their own section, they've got their own entrance, and you will not see any of the crazy banter that you see in Kenya. I mean, Burnley fans and Arsenal fans were moving freely and they had their own gate coming in. And there's a big banner there saying, welcome to Arsenal, Burnley fans. We hope you enjoy yourself. So that is one lesson that we need to pick up from what we've seen in London.
Right, you're actually in the United Kingdom on the day that the transfer window is coming to a close. Can you feel the mood? Guys talking about it on the streets, players being swapped all over the place. I don't know, has that been a talking point there?
It has not been a talking point as much, maybe because there are no big names that are being floated to move across. The only big talking point is, even with the Arsenal fans, is that Louis van Gaal is really not going to survive at Manchester United. And they are saying that please don't fire him until we come and beat you in Old Trafford. That is a message that they say. They are thinking that Louis van Gaal will be fired after Manchester United loses to Arsenal. That is their own opinion, that as you know, the big games are not any predictable. It's not easy to predict those big games. Funny enough, Arsenal don't consider Manchester United their biggest rival. It's just a normal game like any other. For them, Tottenham Hotspur is the big game. For Manchester United, on the other hand, Liverpool is the big deal. They consider Liverpool a much bigger game than Arsenal. So those are the parameters that we are looking at.
That's right, Mike. I know a lot of what you've said is considered hate speech by Manchester United fans, so we'll leave that there. My final question to you is, what more can we expect from you and the rest of your program there?
We have a very, very, very good show coming up on Monday. We have a lot in store for football fans. Whatever we've got to do in the UK has been done and sealed, but I want to unveil at the same time. That is, in Kenya and in the UK, the unveiling is going to be done on the same day at the same time. We're talking about billboards going up at the same time. We're talking about press releases going out at the same time. So, in a nutshell, it's revolutionary.
Wow.
I mean, there will be a lot of football fans from Kenya coming to London to watch games. And there will be a lot in store for our coaches and our players as well, because it's a deal that involves a lot of training for coaches, a lot of training for youngsters, and a lot of scouting. Those who've been making a lot of noise and saying, oh, these guys are not able to come and watch the Kenyans playing, Kenyans are not given an equal chance like any other country in Africa, that the big clubs really concentrate on West Africa when it comes to scouting.
That's right, Mike.
A player is a player. A good player is a good player. So there'll be a lot of scouting. And another big talking point is Wanyama will be playing here tomorrow. He's looking forward to the game. He knows there are a lot of Arsenal fans, and he says, this is one game that I am really looking forward to. So we know that Wanyama is a big player.
That's right.
He's considered at some point by Arsenal. But I think after watching I talked to a couple of Arsenal fans, and they said, you know what, we hope that he's going to be on the same level as Wanyama, because they were told we can't sign Wanyama because we signed his name. So
thank you, Mike. All right. Thank you. Of course, we'll keep in touch. Thank you for that update, just letting us know what's happening there and the whole experience. Stay safe and stay warm. And of course, I hope you're streaming in this show, wherever you are, on www.citizentv.co.ke. Thank you, Mike, for that. And Dong, back to you as you wrap up our transfer watch.
Yes, and just going back to AFC Leopards, remember we're having the interaction as far as their signings are concerned. John Kianda is of the opinion that this squad, 21 players have been brought into Ingwe. He doesn't feel they can actually take them where they should be. But Mr. Msali has a different opinion. Kianda, you're going to respond to Mr. Msali's view.
I wanted to ask him a question, and I'm sure that maybe if he follows FC Leopards like I do, he'll have that opinion of answering me. We start from the goalkeeping department to the striking force. Who is remaining at that club? Who was commanding first team football at FC Leopards?
It's become an examination now.
First team football from FC Leopards. If we speak about the defense, Musalia Martin left to Tusker. Jackson Sale has gone. Eric Masika, I think, is signed a new deal with FC Leopards. Then we also have Edwin Wafula, who left for Bandari. Bernard Mangoli has gone. Kiza Martin has left FC Leopards. Some of the strikers too have gone. Timona Wanyonyi, they signed him from Gor Mahia, has left. Who is among these players that have left at FC Leopards, who used to command the first team football at FC Leopards, who is still there?
So your concern is first team football?
It's about consistency. Bandari are going to be a threat this time round,
but
because
of course,
they've kept their best
club,
players.
Kianda, definitely you have to appreciate the fact that you do know that at one point that some of these players will actually depart. So you have to have something called longevity. You have to have depth. So do you feel like for them, as much as yes, you're stating that this signing is not per se, it will take FC Leopards where they should be, but nonetheless, that element of longevity.
I want to be very realistic with FC Leopards fans, and I don't want to lie to them. You keep your best players. FC Leopards and Gor Mahia faced the same challenges last season. They had no sponsor. Gor Mahia managed to keep their best players. Only Medi Kagere and Medi Kagere alone and Michael Olunga. Olunga was known at Gor Mahia. He wasn't their player.
Yes.
But look at who they've signed. They've signed Jacob Kelly. They've signed Tuisenge from Rwanda. They've signed Jackson Sale. They've kept their best players despite losing the two. Who has FC Leopards kept? They've kept players who could not find maybe an opportunity to play for other teams. To be realistic.
Let's listen to another gentleman here. Maybe just give his own views as far as FC Leopards. I don't know if you support Kianda or Salia.
I think, to be realistic, what is the meaning of having a club? A club should encourage members or players to come in and develop their skills. That is the core reason of a club. It is not about winning cups year in, year out. Yes, we need to win, but what about those other players who do not have a place to go? And I think if FC Leopards surely it has been struggling the whole of last season. If it will not be in a position this year to sign all these players, if Kianda is saying that we are only going to participate, it only shows that FC Leopard, yes, they have a problem with the cash or money, but they have managed to sign in 21 players. That means they have the urge and they know they are going to make it.
Thank you. Let's take a look at other club that has done some significant signings. That was FC Leopards. I touched on this earlier on, and that is Sofapaka. They have done a significant number of signings. A record 25 players are joining Batoto Bamungu. I'll just gloss over some of the names. You can see Barnabas TM, of course, you know him very well. Eric Omonge, Frederick Kentile, Ronaldo Uma, Dennis Monda, Robert Binjaka from Kariobangi, Sharks, Francis Oduor, Talanta FC, Alfred Mburu. This is just the first slide, Wega Mora. There's another slide. Just shows how Sofapaka trying as much as possible to invest. Remember, they actually clinched the Kenya Premier League title several years ago on their debut. So definitely for them, they're trying as much as possible to go back to those glory days. Godfrey Atindo, Rashida Suman, Michael Karanja, Maritim Kipngetich, I beg your pardon, Peter Nganga, Brian Yakan, Ambrose Kula, Levian Ochieng from Stan High School. You can see a lot of youngsters there. And this is the other list of players: John Kasika, George Otieno, Collins Omondi, Patrick Mugendi, Fiberesima Sinkala, Edgar Ochieng, of course, fighter from Madara United, Jackson Okech, Jaswan Jogona. And finally, of course, you can see that a significant number of players, and also this Gerald Bagule, which is also on the list, from Bright Stars Academy. What is key for me is the fact that several of these clubs are actually targeting players, targeting future stars from the high school.
That's right, Dong. Thank you for taking us through the local transfer watch. Later on, we'll be taking a look at the international transfer watch as well, even as that market is a few hours, got a few more hours to spare, that is, before the transfer window closes. And in just a bit, we'll be talking to Gor Semelango. He's got some interesting news for us, so you need to keep it right here for that interview. But moving on to other news that was making headlines regionally, Rwanda, the African Nations Championship host Rwanda, that is, they exited the tournament prematurely as they were beaten 2-1 by the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Now here's Merveille Bope. No free kick, says the ref. They try the long shot, it's there! Dikanji gives the DRC an early lead. Play on. Iranzi, Sojera! Still Rwanda under pressure, DRC doing the attacking. And they may well have got themselves a place in the semi-finals of the Orange African Nations Championship with just 6 minutes of extra time to go.
Meanwhile, the Ivory Coast romped through to the semi-finals of the African Nations Championships in Rwanda with a clinical 3-0 victory over Mali. Here are the highlights of that match.
Mali stunned Tunisia by 2-1 as they advance to the penultimate stage of the African Nations Championship.
Still Bouchier. Oh, it's there! They go ahead. Having played his part. Another good through ball. Koulibaly. Referees pointed to the spot. Aliou Dieng. The keeper gets a touch, but it's there. Samake. Oh, lovely play. Ablagiaro.
We'll be having that interview in just a bit, but one of our last highlights from the CHAN tournament, Chipolopolo were bundled out, losing to Guinea on penalty shootouts after a barren draw in normal and extra time. Here are those penalty shootouts. Right, well, Kenya is an interesting place to be for many reasons, and one of them is because of the way our football is. Last season we had 2 football leagues, and as we speak right now, it seems like in some quarters that we have 2 football presidents as well. And joining me to speak about that and to explain what all that means, I'm joined by Mr. Gol Semelango. He calls himself a businessman, aspiring to be FKF president, although he tells me now that he is, and he's here to explain to us why. My first question to you, Mr. Semelango, and I've got an amazing panel here to join me in. Are you calling yourself now the FKF president?
I'm not calling it. It is the law. It is the law. I mean, I'm chairman of Reunion as well, football club.
Yes.
People call me businessman. I do business, so if you call me businessman, yes, it is. But it is the law. In 2013, we had what is called Sports Act. One of the few acts the president penned his signature on is Sports Act. What did that Sports Act seek to achieve? To bring order in football.
That's right.
In all sports.
In all sports, actually.
Yes, in all sports associations. And then under Article 46, it created an office called the Registrar of Sports.
That's right.
Who, as we speak now, is a lawyer, very qualified lawyer. And under Article 50, it talks about transition. And before you go to Article 50, it talks about, Article 46 talks about no sports organization shall operate without the registration under that act. And that was 2013. Now when we go to Article 50, it talks about transition. It talked about any sports organization registered under Societies Act had 1 year from 2013 August to 2014 August to register or seek to register or send their application.
Yes. And that deadline has elapsed.
That deadline elapsed long time ago.
So you saw a vacuum and you took advantage of it?
No, there are people who went to the sports tribunal to ensure that this organization is declared, illegal. They are running football illegally. And what did the law seek to achieve? It wanted order, and it helped by the president penning its signature to that act meant it gave the government certain leverages in ensuring that sports is organized or run in an orderly manner. Now, what we did, under Article 50, when it talks about transition, it says they'll be given 1 year. And as I've told you, no sports organization running football has done that. They've refused to follow the law.
And several other federations as well have also not...
but most of them now, they have done that. They have done that. What we did now, because now there is a vacuum, and there is no legally registered organization to run football. And the government, through the Ministry of Sport, has continued to finance an illegal entity. And therefore, they have taken advantage to misuse those funds. And it is very strange. The minister, the cabinet secretary in charge of sports, has on several occasions, including before the Senate, told the Senate that FKF is an illegal entity. Under Article 53, it talks about there shall be an organization registered under this act, and it can only exist if there is application that has not been rejected.
I want to hold you on that note because we want to bring our viewer into greater light of what is actually happening. We have 3 documents that we want to show you. If my director can bring up the first one very quickly, and then the panel can pick up from where we left off. Let's see the first document, and I'll just quickly read that. This was to notify the general public from Dr. Hassan Wario that pursuant to the allegations appearing in media houses and newspapers that the sports registrar has registered Evans Gor Semelango, I take it that is you, sir,
yes, sir.
Mr. Sam Sholay and Mahmoud Abbas as officials of FKF, it is not true. So you are here in studio today saying that what you have done is followed the law, but Dr. Hassan Wario, who should be the overseer of sports in the country, has refused that. Hold on. Let's take a look at the next document.
No, the next paragraph. What does it say?
It is notified for public information that acknowledgement is not registration.
Continue.
So far, FKF is neither a registered organization, and sorry, a bit unclear in what the rest of the words say. Therefore, FKF is yet to be registered as a bona fide sports organization, and he agrees with that.
Yes.
But the whole idea was that the process was supposed to go through to the elections first, before anyone can then do that process, but you seem to have pulled a coup on them. Let's take a look at the next document. I can see the panel is eager to ask their questions, and I want to hand over to them quickly. If we can have it on full page, Bona Director, just so that we can peruse through that. This is a letter from an advocate's office to the Ministry of Sports, I believe, talking about the same matter, a petition regarding the registration of FKF. And the third document, which I think will bring into the matter more clear, is from FKF informing members and everyone that the actions of Mr. Gor Semelango were illegal, and they were even threatening action, FIFA, and so forth. So that's just to give you an idea of where we are, where this whole debate has started. And I'll hand over to the panel to see whether we can get some questions for you, Gor Semelango, to clarify whether what you did is true or not.
Okay, Mr. Gor Semelango, my name is Milton Jaka Black from Ramogi.
Yes, Jaka.
Now, you call yourself the chairman, or the law calls you?
The law calls me. I don't.
The law calls you the chairman.
Yes.
Do you have a certificate?
Yes, I have an acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement, not a certificate.
No, it starts with acknowledgement better than the certificate.
So where do you expect to get the certificate from? Because now we do understand even the FIFA rules.
Yes.
It's very clear that Kenya, the FIFA sent a very strong message that Kenya risks being banned from international assignments if elections are not held. Now, if you are the chairman, if elections are called today, we know it's off. Are you going to participate in the election, or you are just the chairman, that is enough?
Okay, let me explain. The letter, I did not call myself the interim officials, as was indicated by the Registrar of Society, called me interim chairman. So it is interim. There must be elections that must be conducted. Now, what we seek to do is, for your information, there will be no election unless conducted by the interim officials. So whoever is purporting out there that they are going to conduct election on 10th, it is a big lie. And I'm following the law.
Sorry, just say that again.
Let me explain to you. Anybody who purports to be planning to conduct election on 10th of February without the permission of the interim officials, as indicated by the Registrar of Sports.
Interim officials, who are you?
I am the interim chairman of the acknowledged federation as per the Act of Parliament. Unless they go to Parliament and change that, the process as indicated by the Act itself says, under 53A, that unless a registration application has been received and not rejected, then that sports association does not exist. The minister cannot be contradictory in his statement by saying, we gave you a letter of acknowledgement, and run through. You can Google what acknowledgement.
Let me just ask a question, just one question. What does FIFA rule say about an appointment by the interference by the government?
Thank you. Let me explain that. I've heard the communication.
Because you say it is the sports CS.
Yes. By the way, the Act does not talk about the sports CS. And it talks about the sports registrar, who, under Article 46, it creates that office. So therefore, the registrar of, and that is why she wrote a letter to Nyamweya team explaining to them that these are the interim officials who've done application, and we have acknowledged. And that is what the Act says. So anybody, we are with the law. And that is the most important thing. And I want to talk about FIFA. I read, now I've written a letter to the Mr. Primo Kavora, who is the director of member associations, explaining to him that the law has not been followed in Kenya, and therefore Kenya does not risk being banned by FIFA. FIFA is not the old FIFA we knew.
Has he responded to you?
Yeah, no, we had talked on phone, so the response is coming, and I'm also scheduled to visit the FIFA headquarters to explain to them that the law has not been followed.
Okay,
and
Dong had a question?
Let's just try and understand the fact that you've stated that you do not get a certificate of registration. That's one.
The process that starts.
The process that starts.
Acknowledgement.
But what I understand is, yes, Mr. Semelango, is the fact that as much as yes, you had expressed your interest, and you had applied as required.
Yes, by the law.
Yes.
Yes.
Acknowledgement does not mean that you have been registered, because I can read the Act right now. You've talked about the Act. Let me read the Act. It says a certificate of registration issued under this section, a certificate of registration which you do not have.
Yes.
States that shall be conclusive evidence of authority to operate through the country as may be specified in the certificate of registration. It further goes to state that a sports organization which was duly registered under the Societies Act and existing immediately before the commencement of this Act shall be required to apply for registration, which you have, but it needs to require having a certificate of registration. So I'm trying to understand, because as much as yes, you've applied, you've sent your application, yes? It's up to the registrar to actually vet, right? Yes. That's the case.
Exactly.
So have you gotten any confirmation from the registrar stating that your vetting has been successful and you have been confirmed as the official?
Thank you very much. You see, that is the process. And the reason why, what did this Act seek to cure? It was to get the chaos, and also getting unscrupulous fellows, or fellows who lack integrity to run our football.
But at the moment, your actions seem to
have followed the law. Did you know what they asked for for the application to be accepted? They wanted certificate of good conduct from the CID. They wanted clearance from KRA that you pay taxes. 3, they wanted clearance from ethics and anti-corruption to say that you are not corrupt or you are not involved in corruption. 4, they needed clearance even from the university loans board. I mean, these are requirements of which is also under Chapter 6, because what this Act seeks to cure is to get people with the questionable character getting into office to mess up our soccer. So therefore, it is a long process. So we met all those requirements, and therefore the government through the Registrar of Sports said, we acknowledge you have met all the conditions, and therefore what is remaining is basically to analyze and issue a certificate of registration.
Well, I know
according to the Act, it's very clear.
I know this debate will go on after the break. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick it up immediately after we come back. The hashtag is Monday Football. Do you have any questions for Mr. Gor Semelango? Tweet us, send us a text on 22422. We'll be posing them to him immediately after this short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Monday Football, the first in the new month of February. Finally, January is over. We've got quite an exciting show. Before the break, we were talking with Gor Semelango, whose initiative has caused a lot of ruffles in the football world. We're getting a bit of feedback on that. Let me read one or two tweets quickly. Baptista Virus asking, so which league are Kenyan teams now playing now that Gor says he's also registered an FKF? She's seeking clarification on that. I'm sure that's one of the things Gor will tackle. Brayo Bruce Lush saying, Mr. Semelango, we need to understand this scenario. We're not quite getting you on that. And another one here, let me see, I've seen another interesting one from Clark Sumbule saying, Semelango is losing focus. Football needs unity, sir. We'll pose those questions to him in just a bit. Now, we talked about the local transfer watch a few minutes ago. We want to talk about the international transfer watch at the moment. Very quickly, we'll go through 7 possible transfers before the transfer window closes in the next few hours. First things first, we have Diego Costa, 27-year-old, will not be leaving Chelsea after what some had predicted he would, after the Blues rejected a late approach from Atletico Madrid to resign their former striker. So the old man, who's not old in years, will not be leaving Chelsea. Move on now to Sergio Ramos, and Ramos has dispelled rumors that he could consider crossing over to Barcelona from Real Madrid. He also says that the news that Neymar could move from Barcelona to Real Madrid is one of those rumors that comes up whenever you have a transfer window like this one. So Sergio Ramos also staying put, just like Diego Costa. We move on to another interesting man here, John Terry, and he is likely to move to Major League Soccer. That's in the United States when his contract at Stamford Bridge ends at the end of the season. Remember, last week, Chelsea indicated that they will not be renewing his contract. Rather sad news for him. He's open to a renewal if the chance does come up, but if it doesn't, he could find himself in America, where all footballers head to retire. At number 4, Seido Berahino, a man who's been in the headlines for transfer possibilities for quite a long time. Now Tottenham and Stoke have joined Newcastle in hoping to sign this 22-year-old on transfer day next week. I'll tell you whether they manage or not, but he's big in terms of the scope of some of the teams that are looking to make last-minute transfers. Number 5, Edinson Cavani. Now, a number of clubs have also expressed interest in this man, including Manchester United. He hasn't fit quite well at PSG, that's Paris Saint-Germain, and he could do well with a new challenge. Been on the bench a couple of times, and he could actually be offloaded later today to one of the clubs, including Manchester United. At number 6, Alex Teixeira. We spoke about him last week. We are still talking about him because no move has been finalized up till now. Liverpool have not given up on signing him, but the transfer that his club Shakhtar Donetsk are asking for is a bit high, £50 million. That's about 7.3 billion Kenya shillings. Do Liverpool have the money to purchase him or not? Well, we'll know in a couple of hours. And finally, one matter done quite a bit for Manchester United, but it seems that Barcelona are interested in signing him here, and now that Barcelona had a transfer ban lifted last season, they are looking to get his signature, and he could be going to La Liga, back to La Liga where he was previously with Valencia. Now we've narrowed only 7 of lots and lots of possible transfer options that could have been happening, that could be happening today up until the deadline, but that's a bit of what you can expect on the international transfer front. For now, I hand you back to Bernard Dong with that interview. Mr. Go Semelango on the hot seat.
Of course, thank you very much, Rega Maora, just giving us an idea of the transfer as far as Europe is concerned. And we are back with Mr. Gor Semelango, who says that he is the current interim chairman of the Football Kenya Federation. You talked about applying for that position, yes, which you say that you've received an acknowledgement letter. Now, I'm interested in finding out, because I'm looking at the Sports Act, and it states, 1, as far as the registrar's mandate is concerned, when it comes to registration, it states that, listen keenly, shall register sports organizations. I'm interested in finding out, how did you register, in what criteria? Why do you register as a sports federation, as an individual?
As a federation.
As a federation.
And there can only be one registered.
That's covered in the Act. So you registered as a federation, as what exactly? The Football Kenya Federation?
Yes, the Football Kenya Federation.
Okay, and then you talked about receiving that acknowledgement letter.
What does the word acknowledgement mean?
Acknowledgement.
To accept.
Receipt.
To recognize. And we have not said, so I agree with the...
That's fine.
What the minister is saying is just that he's confused. And he has not, I mean, he should do what he should do, because the parliament, in its wisdom, and the president, by accenting to that act, wanted him to have some leverage in terms of reigning on errand.
That's fine.
Leadership.
So you're stating that, just to understand what you just said, is that the fact that you received an acknowledgement letter means that you have been given the mandate to actually run the game.
Yes, we are in the interim.
In the interim,
because even if you went for elections now, you're running for president, vice president, it does not exist in the act. So you must first comply with the act, and then you can go for elections. There cannot be. And these discussions we had, if you remember, we were at Kasarani, Kasarani Stadium with the minister and all stakeholders, except one, Sam Nyamoya did not attend. But everybody told the minister, and his officers, including the principal secretary. That ensures
because you're talking about interim. Sorry to interject you. You've talked about interim.
Yes.
Then you're saying it's not covered here, right? That's what you're saying.
No, it is covered.
Okay.
Under Article 53, it talks about unless that federation has the application has been received, which they have received and acknowledged, then it now exists in the interim.
Let's backtrack.
Yes.
I'm interested in finding out the timing. Why do it now?
No, we did as you saw, as you saw the letter from the minister. They say on December 1st. That was long before, because we told them when we saw the elections, people were, I mean, there were corruption allegations involved, and then the electoral board did not take any action, and there was no national tallying center for these elections. It's been a fraud. And the problem is, you are doing all these things under no law.
In essence,
there is no law.
In essence, you're questioning the credibility of the FKF electoral board, because you're stating that the elections for the 10th of February will not happen.
Will be an illegality even if they do it. You have read the act. You, as a journalist, I mean, it is your job to interpret. Read that
that's
act.
fine.
Yes.
It states as it is, but there's one thing that is
it doesn't matter how many people are saying it
about
is
the
correct.
aspect of the act being enforced and everything, but my issue is, I keep coming back to this point, because the fact that you're stating that you are an official, right?
I'm an interim official of it.
Semantics.
Yes.
You're an official.
Semantics.
A certificate of registration.
Yes.
Do you have that?
That is the next process now.
That is
how the
so you are
act
sure you're going to get it?
Of course.
Fine. Now, can I read for you this? You've talked about the act.
Yes.
Article 49 states categorically, it says that the registrar may reject.
Yes.
May reject. So you have applied.
They have powers to reject.
Yes.
But
so
instead of rejecting, they've done an acknowledgement letter instead of rejection. Are we together?
Rejection, I believe, if I'm not wrong,
they will write a letter rejecting, and they say within 14 days of
application. That's fine. I'm sure a rejection will happen if you've not met the preconditions.
Yes,
which you stated yourself was one.
Yes.
You have one, it's of course submitted to the registrar. The name of the sports organization, the category under which it is to be registered. Evidently, you talked about the office bearers of the applicant, the head office, sources of funding, all this stuff that you require, the preconditions, certificate of good conduct, all that stuff.
We've met.
I believe if you are to be rejected at that particular point, it's because you do not meet the preconditions, right? Which you met.
We have met.
But subsequently, you can be. Your application can be rejected. Do you appreciate that fact?
In the that can be very unlikely, and that can be taken to court, you know, because you've met. You know, if you're seeking employment in Citizen and you met all the qualifications, I mean, and that is what they require. Those are the qualifications they require. So unless they reject, which they have not.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I love your zeal for fighting for what you think you really believe it's quite rightfully yours.
Thank you.
At the same time, I changed
for football actually.
I changed the mentality I knew about you once I saw an interview between you and other journalists, and you termed his question as mediocre.
Yes.
So something that made me judge you as somebody who is very much temperamental to withstand shocks and adversity that is coming with the city you are looking for.
Yes.
One question I'd love to ask you, Bwana Semalango.
Yes.
Have you ever tried to ask yourself as to why the government, despite the fact that they have acknowledged your everything, have you ever asked yourself why to date they've never given you the certificate? Do you know why?
No,
I'm reading you the
listen.
Yes. Just take it.
I'm sure you don't want me to say your question. Anyway, on a light note, but if you ask me a question, can I answer?
Okay, allow me to finish first.
You want to answer for me?
With your permission, allow me to finish first.
Okay.
I think I'm reading in the same book with the government of Kenya.
What government?
When it comes to the point whereby we fear FIFA sanction and everything, because we know very well that if we give Semalango this certificate, it means the sanctions are coming directly, and it will mean this is a problem to our local clubs. Semalango, if at all we get sanctions from FIFA, are you ready to take the log to fall by you, because you'll be the one who will have created us to go into all this?
Okay, let me answer you first. Whatever, if I'm just forthright. I mean, I'm not temperamental. I have no reason to be.
Yes,
it's not my nature. But if I mean, I shoot straight. If you are mediocre in your question, I will tell you so. Nothing personal. However, I want to answer your question. It is not the government thinking, I doubt. I strongly doubt, because the government in his thinking, and the president, when he assented to this law, he wanted order. And you have seen many times he has intervened personally when our national team are not able to travel, or even Gor Mahia, when they were not able to travel, the federation was not able to sort them to go to Tanzania. So my own thinking and belief is that the government wanted order, and that is why they created the law, and the president assented to it. What I am understanding is that the cabinet secretary does not understand his role, or the role given to him by an act of parliament, which was accented to by president. Because as presently constituted, if you go to an election, it is an illegality, and it is the law, it is not me. And number two, about FIFA, I just did tell you that I wrote to Primo Cavalli, who is the director in charge of member associations, to explain to him, because FIFA is undergoing transformation, and they believe that the rule of law is important. And that is why very many officials, top officials, including the president of FIFA, was banned, and including Platini. They are going through, and we've had conversation with FIFA officials. And the good thing about me being in this mix is that we understand what is happening globally, because I get involved in global transactions and businesses. We understand that FIFA is, they are human beings who are in FIFA, they understand what is going on, and we are explaining to them. All we are doing is to try to comply with our local laws, because FIFA respects local or host country laws, and we want to do the right thing from the word go. It doesn't matter how many people shout that we must go this way, but we must follow the law. And that is what we want to do, so that it becomes very easy. If you give me money, or you give any official money, because you must go through electoral process. I am interim, and so is Sholei and Abbas and other officials. So we are merely vessels to ensure that we have proper elections anchored on law.
Mr. Semelango, two questions here. I'll allow them to each ask a question each.
Yes.
I'll start with you.
I'm Patrick.
Yes.
I'm meant to understand that this comes when the rules are still having some problems. Do you remember that the elections were not held? Do you think it is the right time to claim that? Because that's just an acknowledgement.
Yes.
For an organization to be legal, it must have a paper called a certificate.
Yes.
And it's just like traveling without a visa and a passport. How is that possible?
Yeah, there are many possible. You can be ferried if you are dead. You can be traveled. You can travel without a visa or passport. As it is, the federation is dead. That is what the implication of what I'm trying to tell you. If you die, you could travel without a passport, because you are dead. The federation is dead as it is now, according to the law, according to the act. So what we are doing is, why go through an electoral process and then you can be declared in court that that is illegal? In any case, if you are elected, then I am told you are the president of the federation. What if I'm now told you are illegal because you've not complied? Okay. And if you look at the positions which they have advertised for election, and you looked at the act, they are not tallying. So what we are saying, please, let's follow the law so that we do the right thing from the word go. That is my concern, because soccer must be organized, it must be led by people of integrity, and that we must follow the law. For me, that is the most important thing.
Mr. Semelango, I'll allow my colleague John Kiana to quickly ask a question, but I have two that I'll follow up with.
Okay. Semelango, you're a businessman.
Yes.
You've applied maybe for tenders, supply some good stuff, maybe oil, because I understand you have a petrol oil. Okay, apply tender.
Yes.
Now to your email, to maybe receive application.
Tender normally you given a notification that
to be received.
You are yes.
Do you have the right to go if they give it to someone else? Uko na right ya kwenda hapo na useme mliniambia mmereceive na hawajakupatia.
Let me explain, because in fact you are giving me a very good example. When you apply for tender, normally they'll send you, if you meet a qualification and you've won, they send you what is called a notification letter to notify you that you've won the tender. But that is not a contract.
Good.
That alone means that now you have won the tender. On the basis of that, you can go to your financiers and seek loan, saying that in anticipation of supplying the following goods that have been issued with a notification of award. It is the same thing, acknowledgement that you have met the requirements of the registrar of sports for purposes of registration. And therefore we are waiting for registration.
Semelango, what if you go ahead? If you go ahead and seek the funds and everything, and they give the tender to someone else, do you have the right to go and claim?
You have, because you have a letter of notification. You have legitimate expectation.
But they didn't tell you that you've won. the tenure.
You don't understand. You give examples that you did not understand.
But
when you
no,
apply for a tender, you get a letter of notification notifying you of winning the tender. But that is not the tender itself.
Okay, so you don't
must
have
wait for a contract to sign a contract of a tender. Now that becomes now
the good thing here
winning
is
of the
you
tender.
don't have the registration. That's why every
I have
question,
a notification certificate.
every question is rotating
you.
around the certificate. That is the thing everyone wants to know.
I don't know. You people, Moiga, you know, the problem of, and this is why maybe we are having a problem with all these federations. Because if our journalists do not understand those processes, and I'm very excited or very impressed that you are able to read the law. It is very clear. It is in black and white. It is passed by Parliament.
Yes, you're talking about the law. Sorry to interject, and Moiga will ask your question.
Yes,
you're talking about the law. Perhaps could you have misinterpreted the law?
No. We are very, as you see the letter written to the lawyers.
You've stated that you've been talking to FIFA, right?
Yes, I have been.
The same FIFA has actually indirectly told Kenya that they need to hold these elections by the 10th. So
yes,
I'm a bit confused.
Let me explain to you. FIFA, in my understanding, and I've talked with them, they did not understand the legal lacuna which exists. And therefore, they were cheated that we have complied with the law, everything is okay. It is just a small teething problem.
Can I interrupt you? Have they acknowledged to you that they don't understand the law as it speaks? Because you
they
tell
have
them...
asked me to explain to them. And I have done that in writing to them, to explain to them what the law says and what they have not done. I want to dispel your fears. FIFA will not ban us, because FIFA is undergoing transformation, and they have stated very clearly to me in verbally that they want to see the laws followed, and they do not intend to accept illegal associations or elections that are riddled with bribery. It is going under transformation, so you can be rest assured that everything we are doing, we just want to follow the law.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Selamango. Were your officials, your interim officials, consulted before you went ahead with this move?
Yes, we did.
Who are they? Sam Shuley?
Yes, he has his certificate of conduct, of good conduct. He has all those documents.
So why has Sam Shuley told some journalists that he was not aware that you included his name in the document as application?
It is signed. That document is signed. So
it is signed, but he is not aware.
How can he is the one who signed? Everybody signs. You cannot send it without him signing. So that is a rumor. So treat it as a rumor.
So right now, if we were to call him here into studio, he would acknowledge that you are in the same boat.
He signed his own signature. So it is not about me. I mean, they just agreed that I become the interim chairman. He's the interim secretary. Abbas is the interim.
Secondly,
yes.
Do you love Kenyan football?
Very much, and that's why I'm willing, and that is why I'm willing. And we get very competent lawyers.
There's a train of thought I'm going through here.
Yes.
And you love Kenyan sports?
Oh, big time. I've put in my money.
You've not just come into this because you saw some potential low-hanging fruits.
No.
And I ask you this because your actions have set a dangerous precedent, Mr. Semelango.
It is good.
What is to stop me from going to per se Volleyball Federation or Rugby Federation and equally registering my own set of officials?
The rules and regulations.
Now that we see that Semelango has attempted to do it and it looks like it's working, it looks almost easy to forcefully commandeer a federation without going through the election process. Bwana Semelango, wouldn't you say that as a legally recognized federation, you would go through the ballot box, which is what the world is demanding now, that let democracy choose you fairly as president, Bwana Semelango. And it's only 1 week away. Could you not have waited?
Yes, let me forgive you. You can go through a democratic process. It's like, and I give the example of Mogiki. Mogiki is an illegal outfit. And the government says so. Or even for the minister and the ministry to continue giving money to an illegal outfit is wrong. And they had all the time. So I believe in democracy, but I want us to follow the law, because that is the essence of democracy. You must follow the law. And you know the reason why I love football so much, that I've put money into it, and also I like the idea you've asked about the legality of all this legal advice. We have quality advice. And when you look at the registrar of sports, he wrote about a company, an advocates company that went to pick the acknowledgement letter.
From an advocate.
Yes. We are paying for it. We are getting quality advice. The lawyers have told us what it is, the law as it is. It has been interpreted. It has not been misinterpreted. And we will take this also before the laws.
Mr. Melango, as we wind up.
Yes.
I've just quoted here from the Sports Act. It categorically states that the registrar can actually reject. If you get a letter from the registrar stating that your application has been rejected?
But you were perfect. Then that is what I also told you. The registrar, as it's created through that act, has certain powers. But those must be anchored in law. the reason for rejection must be given.
They have been given.
Yes, they have been given. And you read them and we have complied. That's why they wrote for us.
Those are the preconditions, Mr.
Yes,
Milango.
they did. And those preconditions, we met them.
Now, let me just read it out just for understanding. The registrar may cancel a certificate of registration, which unfortunately you don't have
yes, so don't read
issued as sports organization under this act. If the registrar is satisfied that one, the registration was procured through misrepresentation or non-disclosure of material facts, the terms or conditions attached to the certificate of registration have been violated, the sports organization has breached the provisions of this act or any other law.
We haven't reached there, and you can agree with me. So then they have certain powers. But in rejection, it says within 14 days they can reject. Those 14 days pass. But in her wisdom, she can decide to do that. But we have met the preconditions.
Yes.
We did. For me, I'm just following the law. I'm not interested in taking over the federation without following the
finding out. The question all these gentlemen are interested in finding out. You've said that the elections that are set to take place on the 10th of February should not take place. What would you propose? When should they happen?
It will not take place, and even if it takes place, it is an illegality, and therefore it is subject to be challenged in a court of law. And there are so many courts now. There is a High Court, there is a Tribunal, there is a High Court, there is a Court of Appeal and Supreme Court.
But
so it is an illegality. And you have read them.
I know we don't have time, but are you not taking us where we were? If you remember at the start of last season, KPL was delayed because of a court case.
Yes.
You are now going to drag us back into a court case. It means we may not have a representative at the FIFA Congress.
Why not? We have
but as a lover of football, Kenya needs representation.
We have interim officials who will go to FIFA for those purposes of those elections. and let me tell you, and this is the problem. You can be in a hurry to do something, or you can be in a hurry and you steal this camera. But that is not the right thing to do, because there was a camera that is needed urgently. You see, what we are trying to do is let us follow the law. Once you follow the law, everything will fall into place. That's all we need. I want to go through a democratic process so that I can be elected democratically, and then I oversee the running of football through a democratic process. But I do not want to participate in an illegality. That's the sound advice from our legal team. That even if you participate in that process, somebody can simply go to court and you will be declared illegal. So why should I belabor? You go through an electoral process that is an illegality in itself.
Yes.
And you have read the law. You agree with me that the federation is illegal. The cabinet secretary in charge of sports, you have read it. The cabinet secretary in his second paragraph, you remember, he said they should have been compliance by 1st of August 2014. You remember?
There should have been, but he did not declare the federation illegal.
He said it's illegal. The Commission of Sports himself on 28 said it's illegal. It is the truth.
Thank you so much,
as a journalist, it disturbs
Thank you so much, Mr. Gorson. Of course, you're just giving us clarity, just to trying to understand
but no,
the issue.
It will help the public.
Thank you.
And the stakeholders that you tell them the truth about the law.
Indeed, of course, the law is actually as it is.
The law as it is. Unless you go to Parliament. They can actually go to Parliament, petition Parliament to change the law.
Yes, that's fine.
It is possible. They go petition the Parliament to change the law.
Thanks so much, Mr. Gorson, for giving us, of course, your insight as far as... very interesting scenario there, but nonetheless, Waiga Mora, on a lighter note, it's been a heated discussion, a lot of emotion, a lot of
can you allow me flaring? Can you allow me to
let's take a different direction now, Mr. Semelango, allow me. And Waiga Mora, of course, some funny images.
That's right.
And on a lighter note, Mr. Semelango.
Away from the politics of football, time to take a look at funny pictures, even as we wind up the show for today. We've gone on a bit longer than we should have, but all for a good reason. We love Kenyan football and we want the best for it. Very quickly, funny pictures, Barca and Atletico Madrid fans showing their love for their teams. Real Madrid fans bitter as always. I should let you know Michael Kinyi is a big Real Madrid fan. He hates Barca and Atletico. That's a story for another day. We move on now. This is how you feel when you're getting ready to watch Manchester United play. My goodness.
Mr. Bean.
A picture of Mr. Bean trying to keep his eyes open. Unfortunately, it's where Manchester United has come to at the moment, hoping for some improvement in that. When you find out that Real Madrid will be able to sign players this summer, David De Gea finding out that he might actually go back to Spain, Real Madrid, where his family
was suspended.
Exactly. So the team had been suspended from signing new players, but they just might be able to sign new players now, and that's the situation as it is. We move on now. There was a big derby this weekend, Dong. AC Milan, Inter Milan. AC Milan won 3-0. But this is for the transfer watch. Milan fans hoping that their team will finally sign somebody. So there's that. Come on, can you do something about this? Yes. So I feel sorry for you if you're an AC Milan fan. Back in the day, this was the big deal. AC Milan versus Inter Milan.
Italy.
Huge derby. But if my director can just scroll the picture, you'll be able to see, there we go, what it looks like now. Yeah, it's two small cats.
Because actually, you know one thing, Waiga, the team that is actually dominating the Italian Serie A is actually Napoli. So yes, definitely that's the reason, one of the reasons why Inter Milan and AC Milan have been relegated per se.
Think of Barcelona and Real Madrid right now. That's where AC Milan and Inter Milan used to be. We move on. Even as we try to cool the temperatures in studio, this is a substitution that made history. This is a TBT. I want to take you back to the 2014 World Cup, the final match.
Mario Götze.
Mario Götze. When he came in, everything changed. Remember that moment in case you had forgotten. He scored the goal for Germany. They beat Argentina to be declared champions. All right, all right. Well, Inter Milan defenders during the first half of the season, they are a brick wall. You can't get through at all. But if you scroll down, you see what is going on now. There we go. Teletubbies. That's what it's come to now. Inter Milan has nothing. It's just lots of fun and games at the back line. We keep moving on. The pictures coming up. Now, this is an interesting one. John Terry has been known for his skills at charming the ladies. And so recently on social media, when he followed Kim Kardashian, a few people on Twitter went to warn Kanye West. Watch out for this man. He's a bit of a smooth
We'll not delve more into it. Let somebody read for his own self. Right?
So leave it at that. We move on. I'm not going to get any more into that. Donga is really amazed by that. There's that one guy in your life who's always a super achiever. And in this one, it is Lionel Messi showing Cristiano Ronaldo a photo of him with all his Ballon d'Or awards. So, you know, you hate those guys who seem to win everything. And that's one of those as well. We move on. Just maybe a few more remaining and we are done. Admit it, don't you miss this Premier League when the top players in the world were actually playing and the Premier League was what it was then? Right now, can't quite say. Most of these guys are playing in other tournaments, so it is what it is. This is an interesting one. Cesc Fabregas posing with his mother and father. His mother and father, of course, are two football players. Of course, Diego Costa there, looking like the dad, and then the so-called mum as well. My director just told me it's almost time to wind up. Bad luck, Chelsea. Chelsea beat MK Dons 1-5, and then they are given... Sorry, 5-1, I beg your pardon. And then they are given Manchester City. And the Chelsea fans stop smiling.
Stop the litmus test. Another one here, let's take a look at final one. And this is a poor guy has been waiting quite a while. Not waiting until Hazard scores a goal. Finally, Hazard scored a goal, of course, over the weekend when Chelsea reigned supreme in the FA Cup fourth round match, and they managed to advance into the fifth round. So ultimately, Waiga Mora, some interesting insights there. Just to show the fact that how players like Eden Hazard have just slowly but surely been gone to the back burner. But let's see how this season pans out, because it's also important to note that you talked about John Terry, and one of the biggest talking points, one of the biggest stories that's coming out from Stamford Bridge is the fact that John Terry's contract has not been renewed. So this is the end of John Terry, as it possibly at Stamford Bridge. That he might not play in the English Premier League. He's interested in playing perhaps in Europe, or maybe could go to the United States. So let's see how that pans out.
Well, that's right. Well, it's almost time to wind up the show. Our DJ will take us out. Thanks to all our guests, Mr. Gorsa Melango. I'm not quite sure what title to give him right now. So call him our invited guest of the day. He defended himself on why he believes he should be called interim leader of the interim FKF gathering according to the rules. And that's something we'll continue to get into. We will follow this matter closely and bring you all the highlights as and when they happen. We expect lots and lots of reactions on the same. Thanks to our radio panel as well. Michael Keeney also just giving us that in-depth report from Arsenal, I believe, from the Emirates as well. And Ndong, anything else after that, we can hand over to the DJ to take us away.
Absolutely.
All right, Kwaheri. See you next week.
You're looking like that's quite hard to me. I'm trying to keep my cool, but it's hard to see. A pretty lady like you not belong to me. I got a space where my heart should be, just enough room where you're supposed to be. I need you here right close to me. Baby, don't mind the swagger from the coast, you see. Shot, pretty and popping, beautifully dressed like you see a show stopping. Mommy, you the one that wanted night stopping. Shorty so fly like she sit in the cockpit. One word, amazing, from head to toe, from side to side, crazy. All I wanna do is just praise it, cause baby, you're a gift, I believe you just made me.
Unanifanya nijidai